thank you so much for joining me today again. It's Mr. Nemard, and this is my random podcast. It's my rap, Random A podcast. All right, good. So, in this podcast, these are the days when I just have something burning I want to talk about. And I just want to get it out there. I just want to have my discussion. I just want to reach out to my audience. And before we go any further, I have set a goal for 100 subscribers before the end of July. So if at any point you're checking out this video, go ahead and click. It's supposed to be somewhere here. You click the subscribe button and you click the like. That's all. Thank you so much for your time. On a serious note though, I have three things I want to talk about today. Three things that I find to be very interesting and also very concerning in some ways. First thing I want to talk about is, and let me set the stage for this discussion. You know, in many circles, people have this thing where some women who you see them and they look unpleasant, just by passing them on the street, they look unapproachable. You don't want to talk to them. These are the people you would seem to want to avoid. Some people call it, they have a resting bitch face. A resting bitch face. Meaning, you look like somebody you just don't want to interact with. Now, to tell the truth, most of us are walking around with a resting death face. We're walking around and our face is saying, you will be deleted if you say hi. You will be deleted if you approach me. You will be deleted if you put your foot on my expensive pair of shoes. We have little value for human life. And yesterday, it hit me like a ton of bricks, to be 100% accurate, to be 100% transparent. Hit me like a ton of bricks. So, what happened exactly? What happened exactly was I was in the midst, not involved, but in the midst of a situation where, and let me kind of break it down into story mode. Let's go, story mode.
Stop the cap.
So, you're taking your transport home. You have paid your fare. The person behind you has paid his fare. However, he has given the driver a certain amount where the driver will now have to make change for him. So, fare is given, the driver makes change, gives the passenger part of the change, and now the passenger during that time came to his stop. When the passenger got to his stop, he had to take something out of the back of the vehicle. So he went and took something out of the back of the vehicle and now returned to collect the rest of his fare. When he came to collect the rest of his fare, the driver said, I thought I gave you your full fare. Now the passenger who just alighted from the vehicle was on the phone, and you could see the change in demeanor, you could see the immediate aggression, you could see what was going to happen next if there was no intervention. You could basically see it right out without a shadow of a doubt. This is going down. Without even a slight change in his judgment, without missing a beat, he went for his favorite tool of the trade And if it wasn't for the quick intervention of the other people on the transport, there would have been a major escalation. Now, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that we have so little space for grace. Mistakes do happen. And some people make honest mistakes and didn't live long enough to pick up on their mistakes. They didn't live long enough to understand where they went wrong. They didn't live long enough to get a chance to make amends or to make it right, because a mistake is still a mistake. And that is truly, truly sad. That is a situation that we're living with right now in our society. We get into a phase where we are one mistake away from the grave. So, in other words, we are 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot out. It only takes that small one wrong step, make one false move, and your bell has tolled. They're singing for you in a couple of weeks at your funeral. I think we need to go back to a space where we can give grace. Understand that we are all still, after all, human beings. We all still do make mistakes. We all still do make mistakes, and we all need grace. And we still can forgive. Sometimes it's not that serious. It doesn't need to mean someone should be losing their life. It doesn't mean that someone's child will not be seeing them anymore. It shouldn't mean that someone's wife or husband shouldn't be seeing them anymore. It is a bit too drastic, I believe. And it comes down to our socialization in many ways. We are so socialized to be violent that in some ways we don't even know what we're doing. We don't even understand. We don't even understand why we're violent. We only understand that if X happens, then you must therefore do Y. If this person tells you something you don't like, then the fix is to ensure that he doesn't have a mouth to speak anymore. The fix is to make him have to go 6 feet under if people are still getting 6 feet. Well, actually, I'm sure people are not getting 6 feet anymore. I think people are lucky to get 3 feet these days. However, I think we need to learn as a country, as a society, problem-solving skills. I think we need to learn how to deal with conflict. I think these are some of the things that maybe are not being taught in schools, maybe is not being projected, promoted by the wider society. So for that reason, many people are thrown out to the wolves, for want of a better term, without a off-ramp. Let's call it an off-ramp. There's no off-ramp. Right? There is no alternative. For every decision you make, there should be an alternative. So we are told one way, do this. This is how you handle that. And if this person does that, then you are programmed to do that. There shouldn't be another way. You shouldn't have another choice. You must do this, and this is the only fix. The challenge is, if it is an eye for an eye, then the whole world goes blind. How many of us have heard that before? An eye for an eye, and the world is blind. I'm sorry, I don't want to be blind. I love being able to see the world as is. So I have no reason, I have no intention, I have no encouragement to go eye for an eye. There are some people who are less forgiving than others. However, when it gets to a place where someone can be physically, emotionally traumatized, we need to understand that there is a different way of handling a situation. So I was a part of that situation yesterday. And guess what? Today, I am informed there is this going around where, once again, and also, not surprisingly, there is huge, huge, huge firefight in the town that I actually live. There is a huge demonstration of people not being able to resolve their conflicts without someone getting injured. It's a challenge where I think we need to tackle as a society and as a country. Now, I start sound like me a politician. However, I just talk the way I know how to talk, and that's just it. We need problem-solving training. We need problem-solving skills. We need coping skills, coping mechanisms. Many of these things, more than likely, are not being taught in schools. Kids come out of school with 1,000,001 subjects, and one of these subjects is not, how do I handle a conflict? Okay, so if this person says something that I do not agree with, how do I handle that? It doesn't always have to end up in a fight. It doesn't always have to end up with someone going 6 feet. 3 feet under. It doesn't have to end up like that. But these are skills that have to be taught. These are skills that people have to be socializing them. And also, the wider society does not encourage people having discussions and working out their differences. The wider society is telling you, do this, get violent, do that, go crazy. That is what wider society is telling you. But however, you should have one thing that you have: independent judgment and independent ways of dealing with your situation. Don't allow yourself to be programmed. Don't allow yourself to be programmed. Whatever you do, it should be something that you made that decision that you are going to do this based on the information you have and based on what you're in and what will cause less damage, whether emotional, physical damage to anybody. Think. We still have a mind where we can think. We still have a brain. We say we're the smartest organisms on the face of the earth. Well, sometimes we don't act like it. Sometimes we do not act like it. Sometimes, and here's a challenge. We think we are so far removed from our DNA and our instincts and our judgment that comes straight back to our instinct. We think we are so far removed, but when you see these raw human emotions, you get to understand that we are not as special as we think we are. We're not that special. We may have an advantage over many of the other organisms on the face of the earth, but what do we do with it? Most of our history has been marred by us trying to eliminate each other. Strange. Many of our medical breakthroughs happen because of conflicts. If you do the research, Many of our medical breakthroughs happen because of conflicts, and there were new things used to try to get rid of the opponent. And after the conflict has ended, we mold it to an extent where we can use it for the betterment of the entire race. But it started with us trying to destroy each other, and it ended with us trying to save our lives. Strange. So I'm just saying this to say that we are not as unique as we think we are. We are human beings. We are prone to violence. And if we can't understand that and appreciate that in the first place, then there goes our chance of fixing whatever we need to fix to get ourselves to a place where we do not need to be displaying certain acts of violence and getting people's lives ended unreasonably and without cause. So, well, that's it. That's just my 5 seconds. One of the topics I wanted to talk about. And although people will need to start to understand each other more, we need to not be so reactive. We need also to have problem-solving skills. And I believe this is something that, if not taught in schools, should be taught in schools, because it is not getting better. It's getting worse. Every year, year over year, we have more and more incidents of violence. It is more widespread, and it also always ends up closer to home. Many people think that whatever is happening, it's not important to me because it's nobody that I know, but it is someone that you know knows. They say that we are 6 steps removed from anybody on the face of the earth. We are 6 spaces removed. So basically, you know someone that knows someone that knows someone to the 6th power that knows, for example, the President of the United States. No, he doesn't seem that far now, does he? So that's basically it. We are all human beings. We're all interconnected. And where one meets this demise, it is like dropping a pebble on a silent lake, and you see the ripple. That one fly or that one pebble that fell on the water causes a ripple effect that goes to the end of the lake, and we should consider ourselves like that. For every action, there is a reaction and a recurring action based on that 2nd string and 3rd string of actions. Everything is interconnected. We should live good. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's just a rant from me. All I am saying, live good, love life, have fun, moving on. The second thing I want to talk about today is, and this one is for the ladies. This one is for the ladies. Ladies, hear what I'm now. When you become a mother, many things that you deem as important before now slides down on the scale of importance. There are some things that you deem as important now. When you become a mother, these things are no longer that important, and we should act as such. Now, what am I rambling about? Let me tell you what I'm rambling about. I am rambling about the fact that, for example, when you walk on the streets and you see, specifically or more frequently, young women with kids in tow. Sometimes a child is between, let's say, 3 and 5, 7, 9, even 10, 11 and 12. and the way the mother is dressed makes you wonder. And I personally wonder, is it a case that we don't think, or we don't, is it a case that we don't think, we lack critical thinking, and we don't understand cause and effect? Now, whenever I see a young lady on the street with a child in tow looking a particular way, I start to think a particular way. So the child is now being sensitized to see women dressed skimpily, wearing little to nothing. Now, if mommy is doing it, then it must be right. And we have to understand. Parent cannot be wrong in the eyes of a child. Whatever the parent does, it is deemed as correct, the right way to handle a situation, and what the child should emulate. Whatever your child see you doing, that is right without a shadow of a doubt in the eyes of the child. That is why it is so important that as parents, we be careful how we handle ourselves with our kids. We have to be very careful. Yes, I understand it is summer. However, I believe when you're on the road, it is more than that. There is more than that going into the situation. Now, you have to think also about, how do I present myself in the eyes of my child? What will the child be thinking, seeing mommy presented in a particular way? And don't be fooled. I am speaking about men as well. When you present yourselves on the road with your pants all the way down to your knees, what should your child think? Or do we even think, do we even believe that kids have a mind and can perceive and draw conclusions based on what they see and perceive? I think that is the even bigger question. Do we believe that kids have a mind and can perceive things and make a distinction, or have an impression, or have a reaction based on what they see and think and perceive? I think many times when kids grow up a particular way and we say, I tried my best, if we were looking in the microcosm, looking at it from a smaller perspective, look at the small things that could cause a child to be this way. Because here's the thing, a small thing becomes something that is larger and gets larger and larger. And many times we only see it when it becomes a challenge. When it becomes a challenge, but most times it is already too late. When you go on the street with your daughter and you're dressed a particular way, what are you saying to that child? You're saying, this is the way mommy dresses, this is the way daddy dresses, so this is how I am supposed to dress. This is how you should dress as a young person growing up. Remember, mommy and daddy cannot be wrong in the eyes of the child. So, pants down to the waist, face rag hanging out, and skimpy dressing, skirt a bit broader than a belt. You know, this is what the child sees, this is what the child lives, and this is what the child will emulate. No. It gets even worse sometimes. When not only do we start to dress like that in front of our kids, we start just depicting them up like that and send them on the roadside.
Stop the cap.
Beside you, You dress a particular way, and then you start to dress your child in the same way. So now you are giving credence to what they were believing growing up. They believe growing up that dressing a particular way is right. Now you are reinforcing that belief by dressing them in that way.
Stop it. Get some help.
You are now telling them that this is actually the way you should be doing it, son. This is actually the way you should be doing it, daughter. And the actions, the way you talk when you're on the road, the way you respond to people when people talk to you, all of these also come into the mix. And it adds another dynamic to the whole situation. So when the child turns 13 and starts to rebel and say, look, mommy, you can't talk to me anymore, daddy, you can't talk to me anymore, why is that so? This is so because all the signs were there. You gave them all the opportunities, and you, by your actions, led them down the path that is wrong. And sometimes it's not even your fault as a parent either, because sometimes this is what you grew up on. Taking him to the party. You are in your early 30s. As a woman, you got pregnant in your teens, and you and your teenage daughter is at the same party broken out. You and your teenage daughter I make the same TikTok video them. You and your same daughter possibly sharing the same man. And once again, I am not trying to single out the women because the men are just as bad. Because when you be a badness you push, and you tell your son, say, yeah, a badness I do it. And when your son on 13 or 14-year-old and you see him bring that coming at the house and you say, Jesus Christ, where you get this one to me now? You told him, and you have been telling him this since he was possibly 2 or 3 years old. You tell him, say, he must be a girlis. You tell him, say, bad man a bad man. And when him get the girl pregnant and both of them had to be kicked out of school, and he has to be out there looking work, or he becomes a deadbeat and him decides to not feed him child. You told him this from day one. This is your philosophy that you preached to him growing up. Don't you think that he's hearing you? Don't you think that he's thinking, okay, I am going to put these things into action because this is what daddy wants. Daddy say, this me for do, so what this me I go do. Don't you think? Do we still think that kids are stupid? Do we still live in a world where we think that kids are stupid? Well, if we want to live in a utopia where we believe that our actions have no repercussions, have no effect on our kids, we are being shown on a daily basis that what the activities you do around your child and the way you talk to your child and the way you socialize your child about right from wrong. We are seeing it every day. We have 13-year-old, 10-year-olds who are handling weapons that are bigger than them. And we wonder. We sit here and wonder, oh, how the world has changed. Back in my day, I couldn't do this. Back in my day, this and that, and we fool ourselves and we go and we preach and we pretend like we don't know, say, we raise our child to be a mirror image of us when we were younger. You raise a child to be the same bad man that you were because you come off of the road and you tell him how much you bad up this person and how much nobody not bad like you up on the road. And this is how you, for want of a better term, indoctrinate your kids into turning into bad man. You indoctrinate your daughters into turning into 304s. Because remember, and I'm going to keep going back to this, in the eyes of your child, mommy and daddy never and can never be wrong. Check me out in the next topic.
Get some help.
Now, this is a more light-hearted topic. Let me go to, hey man, you're there, man, and itch on your butt and your cuss on your, you know, you're doing all of these things. Now, let's talk about the ladies in Oregon representing Jamaica. And what a fine bang up job they are doing. Shelley and Fraser Price, Mummy Rocket, Jacko, strong. Wow. Just a second here. While I am talking to you, I am also checking out here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Sharika Jackson predicts 1, 2, 3 in the 200 meter and faster times. Okay, great. I thought it was a case where the race was run and the ladies did 1, 2, 3. On a real note still. Let's get this down on record. I strongly believe that the Jamaican female contingent is going to do 1, 2, 3 in the 200 meter finals in this World Championship. I strongly believe, say, we are going to 1, 2, 3 again in this World Championships 200 meters. When you say talent, you have to appreciate talent. Of all the three ladies, I must say, I really appreciate the one we call Jacko, Sharika Jackson. Now that young lady is strong. That young lady is making waves. According to her coach, Stephen Francis, she is just learning 100. She's coming down from 400. I think she used to do the 400. She's just learning 100. Her execution is not there yet. He expects faster times in going forward in her 100 endeavors. He also expects faster times in her 200. And based on the times that she has been doing so far, I see no reason why she shouldn't be getting faster times and medaling. If you ask me, I put her as the biggest threat for gold in the 100. I strongly believe that she can do the gold in the 200. Girl strong, girl been basically jogging, right? Girl been basically jogging and doing her thing. So, 1, 2, 3 for the females in the 200. Now let's talk about the males. And this is something that has happened to Jamaican track and field from time to time. if you, and I'm just thinking about it now, this is research I'm going to have to do. We can toe a line of more prominent female sprinters, I believe, than we can male sprinters who have been more prominent. Because if we're going to go back from Merlin Ottey, Juliet Cuthbert, we remember Veronica Campbell-Brown. And even while I mentioned Veronica Campbell-Brown, VCB, Sharon Simpson, there was a time when VCB was beating Shelley and Fraser left, right, and center. And this is why it is so important that people understand that when you see people at the pinnacle, try to understand the sacrifices they have to make to get there. Veronica Campbell-Brown was beating Shelley and Fraser Price left, right, and center. In her early days, she was almost an unknown because she came up in the era of VCB, who was at that time seen as unbeatable. She was the one carrying the torch for the female sprinting in Jamaica. And even on another note, when I look at some recording of Veronica Campbell-Brown's sprinting, her technique was based mostly around brute force and strength. There wasn't a refined technique per se. She had basically brute force her way to wins. There was no elegance, style to her running. And I believe the reason why many people are now saying that Shelley and Fraser Price is getting better with age is because of her technique. Her technique is a lot more refined now, because back in the early days of her running, she did not have the technique and the posture that she has now. She was, for want of a better term, running wild, head high in the air, almost as if her eyes were closed and she would be just pouring through. But now you can see a more refined sprinting style, more refined and defined sprinting style from her. And that is why I believe she is maintaining and improving on even what she was doing in her younger years. Because the thing with Jamaicans when it comes to sprinting is we have the raw talent. We have the raw talent for sprinting. It is just there. Jamaicans just generally can run fast. However, when you get to a point where you can have a world-class quality coach to break down your running style and teach a technique that best suits you, this is the outcome we get. This is the outcome you get. Jamaican females running 1, 2, 3 in the 100, and highly, highly, highly possible that we'll be running 1, 2, 3 in the 200 as well. Well, actually, for the 100, Jamaicans did 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because remember, the British lady, and I'm going to get her name so I can address her properly with the respect that she deserves and with the love that Jamaicans have for her. I saw her on an interview after the 100, and she was distraught. I thought she showed great poise, great control, and great professionalism while handling that interview, even while she was grieving. Just give me a second, I'm going to find her name. I'm going to get her name so I can address her by name. In the 100 meters for women at World Championships. Okay. Dina Asher Smith. Dina Asher Smith. I will say this. Jamaican love your lady. Jamaicans love you. We respect what you're doing. And I wish you a good run in the 200. Because if you have 1% Jamaican in you, you're 100% Jamaican. That's just so we look at it. If you have 1% Jamaican genes in you, you are 100% Jamaican, and you are 100% Jamaican. Mommy Jamaican, daddy Jamaican. You happen to be living in Britain, but we still. And when you see the love and respect and the outflow of love that the Jamaicans showed to Dina Asher Smith, it tells you everything. You're one of us. You're one of us. And as the interviewer said, what an era to be living in. When low 1085 doesn't get you a medal. 1085 doesn't get you a medal in our world championships. Imagine that. 10.85 as a woman does not get you a medal in a world championship finals. That says something. Jamaica just dominates sprints. Miss Asher Smith, I wish you all the best. My respects. Love. Now, the challenge that sometimes hit Jamaica is when it comes to sprinting. Sometimes there's a huge gap between, for example, we are now struggling to replace a Usain Bolt. We are now struggling to replace a talent such as Usain Bolt. And to be honest, I can see where the next generation of ladies are coming from. The ladies them have other younger ones coming up. There's a pair of twins. They are burning the tracks up. They are doing some times that, trust me. There is a Williams lady. There's a Williams, the Williams girl. She is doing phenomenal work as well. So many women lined up to kick Shelley and Fraser Price off her stool and take her crown. So many women lined up. However, though, on the flip side, unless I am mistaken, I don't see that level, I don't see that depth from the male side. I don't see the depth. I don't see an immediate replacement for Usain. And to me, that's a bit of a challenge. I mean, the guys are there or thereabout. We saw a couple of them compete, you know, and yes, I understand they're young. So, I mean, I guess that is not something to worry about too tough. But, yeah, love the look. Give them an update. We love the look. We like where Jamaican sprinting is at. And we want to continue. And I believe, no, I know we will continue to dominate world sprinting for some time to come. Many people have believed that the Jamaican genes have a lot to do with it. I believe that the Jamaican genes have a lot to do with it. Because, check it, even in years gone by, many countries with more competitions, better coaching facilities, likely better coaches, or let's say more qualified or more coaches with more accolades to train them. and Jamaica still dominate. Yeah, man, dasheen, dumpling, and them type of sitting there. But the thing about it is this, You see, from primary school days, I just sprinting. If you can run fast, yeah. When you can run fast, you are seen. Let's say the talent is identified from primary school most times. The talent is nourished and nurtured and brought into the system. So by the time you get to champs, even class 4 in champs, there are already people who are making their names from primary school coming up. This is why champs is one of the biggest things in Jamaica. Because when champs time come around, it's like a public holiday. Whatever everybody else is doing, the entirety of the country, literally, as a body, the whole country is focusing on champs. Very few other things matter. If politics are going, don't matter. Champs takes precedence. So that's what it comes on to. I believe it is the love and the connection and the passion we have for sprinting. This is why Jamaica will continue to dominate world sprinting for the foreseeable future. For the foreseeable future. So, thank you so much for checking in today. Thank you so much for checking in today. It's Mr. Nemard, nemard.net. Check me out on Friday night. On Friday at 9 p.m., I have something working on. I'm trying to streamline this, put more effort, put more work, and have it more streamlined so I can get it to the ultimate goal of what I want. Ultimate. And you are going to be there with me. You are going to be there when I streamline and I get everything to the level I want it to be. So many things in the making. It's Mr. Nemard of nemard.net, and I am signing out. It's amazing. I have been here for 48 minutes. But let's go. It's Mr. Nemard. I'm signing out. Thank you so much for checking in. Remember, click the like, the comment, and the subscribe button. Much appreciated. See you again on the next episode of my Random podcast.